Hello, everybody, and welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us. So you can follow along with us at podcasts.edumatch.org/tweet talk, as well as on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch. So tonight we have our third of three authors in our Author Bonanza Part 2. We have Peg here with us. Welcome, Peg. Great to see you.
Hi, Sarah. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you again.
Thank you, and I'm so excited to chat with you. So I'm going to just introduce you. I'm sorry to those who might not know you. So I'm going to read a little bit of your bio. So let me go ahead and crack that open. But before I do so, I just want to let you all know that that Peg, her chapter is amazing. It just blew me away. It
Thank you.
totally blew me away. Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's definitely the truth. So I'm very excited about the chapter, and I'm sure our viewers will be as well. So all right, so Peg is an instructional coach, reading specialist at a large urban school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Oh, if I can talk, with nearly 26 years of teaching and learning experience. She began her educational journey in a private all-girls school as an English teacher, eventually moving to a suburban school where she taught alternative education. Currently, Peg collaborates with teachers creating, developing, modeling, implementing, and assessing comprehensive literacy lessons meant to enhance skill building. In addition, she also provides instructional support to teachers district-wide and is a sought-after speaker in local area reading councils. Peg is a blogger, author, and national presenter with articles appearing in ASCD Express, ASCD In Service, Booksource Banter Blog, Edutopia, Exceptional Parent, Literacy Daily, Literacy and NCTE, WSRA Journal, and the Illinois Reading Journal. And she can be reached at peggrafwallner@gmail.com or at peggrafwallner.com. So awesome. Yes, so you stay busy, and I love that. Love that. Yeah, so thank you again for joining us. So,
Thank you.
yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. So, we heard a little bit about your background in your bio. So, who or what inspired you to go into education?
You know, that's a great question. And again, I've been in the field for 26 years. And as you know, a lot has changed. But it was really, and I think this is so true for many of us, it was my ninth grade English teacher. You know, we always seem to have that person, don't we, that we connect with. And we look back on that and say, oh, it was because of this person or that person. And it really was my ninth grade English teacher. And, you know, the funny part was when I started taking classes and I went to Cardinal Stritch University here in Milwaukee. And I have to tell you, I became an English teacher because I really loved English. I envisioned myself teaching Dickens and Shakespeare and Kesey. It wasn't because of kids. It really was because of the love of the canon and the love of literature. It wasn't until I had that first class that I realized, oh my gosh, this is my academic family. And that's when it dawned on me that it was about the kids. So I always like to tell people that because I think sometimes people become, especially high school, become teachers because of their content. And they feel almost guilty that, oh, they don't have that magical love of kids right away. It's okay. It will come. But I think for high school, I think a lot of times it's content first. And then once you get to, like I said, work with some of those freshmen and of course the seniors who know everything, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is so true. I love the high school kids as well. That's a great age. Like I was partial to sophomores. They kind of adopted me.
And sophomores, you know, that's probably, I think, out of all four, I think that's the toughest. Because juniors, you're kind of looking forward to college. You've got the ACT. Sophomores, you're still trying to figure it out. So sophomore year really is where, while we embrace our kids all 4 years without a doubt, we really pay attention to that sophomore year because it is hard. Because they're on that, what do you want to say, Sarah, that cusp of getting to be upper class men and women. So we really embrace them a great deal in sophomore year. It's a tough year.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I was having a similar conversation with some other high school teachers recently. That year universally is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you've been keeping really busy in terms of blogging.
Yeah.
So seeing your stuff all over the place. So can you tell us about some of the recent blog posts that you've written?
Well, and that's the other thing is that just kind of blows my mind because I got into my job 4 years ago. I became an instructional coach with Milwaukee Public Schools. Part of that, like I said, I was in alternative ed. And it really was probably just around 4 years ago that I really started blogging. Created a website. You know, a good friend of mine showed me how, and you know how all our initial websites look, right? They're just kind of, we're just figuring it out. As a matter of fact, my initial website was called Butter and Love, and a teacher's guide to edible education, because when I worked with my alternative students, I loved to bake so much, and I would always bring in baked treats, and they would say, "Oh, Mrs. Grafwallner, these are so good." And I'd say to them, "They're baked with," and they'd always say butter and love. So that was my first website. And like I said, I think we all kind of grow from whether it's our first website or our first article, but really it was just kind of on a whim. I started writing and thought, oh, what the heck, I'll send some stuff in and see what happens. And I think some of it has hit a nerve. And the other thing too, being the parent of a special education, special needs child, I think really does hit a nerve with a lot of people in a very positive way. A lot of people are going through the journey we went through. So what can we do to help not only teachers, but help parents? You know, Sarah, I think my first piece was published in Exceptional Parent, and it was really introducing my daughter, Annie. And I can see that through a 3-lens approach: parent, teacher, and advocate. So once I started writing for Exceptional Parent, I thought, well, let's see what else is out there. So that's been wonderful. And I really enjoy it. And I love the feedback, because I get some very interesting feedback from people as well, positive. And I know to say negative, but good constructive criticism too, to look at things in a different way. And as we were saying earlier, that's why I think that PLN is so important. You can go to your PLN and say, hey, what do you think of this? Or again, help me look at things from a different point of view, which is so critical in education. We cannot be closed-minded, as you know. So the blogging just kind of really came from Exceptional Parent and going from there about our daughter. So I love it. And I'm always looking for ways to interact with even more bloggers out there and more people in education, as well as parents. We can never forget them. I think sometimes they're such a part of our partnership, and bringing them on board is so key.
That is true. Parents are very important stakeholders, as well as the kids. Absolutely. Yeah, we all play that role together. But when you were talking about the butter and love, then I was thinking in my mind that, oh, we missed out on having you in our recipe book, in our cookbook.
Next time.
Yeah, we'll bring it back. We'll definitely bring it back. We got to get some butter and love in there. So absolutely. So you're a contributing author in the upcoming EduSnap 17. So what can people expect to read in your chapter?
Well, what I'm so excited about is I wrote a chapter called Frame. How to frame the first 10 minutes of your class. And you know, here's the thing, and Sarah, you know this and I know that. We're always looking for these buzzwords and acronyms. And I don't want Frame to be that. I want Frame to be a really solid strategy that can be used. And what it stands for is focus, reach, achieve, model, and engage. Encourage. Engage and encourage, but it's encourage. And what I think is so key, is those first 10 minutes, as you know, can create or deflate. And how often we've seen a teacher come into class and just immediately start the lesson. And if we take a step back and use that frame approach, I really think we're setting an opportunity for students not only to feel comfortable and to build that academic family, which we know how important that is, but to really then dive into the learning. You know, when you look at that model we've set up, what do you want to say? A traditional, what word am I looking for? Model where students go from class to class. Whether that's the best model or not, who knows? But it's so hard, I think, for students to turn that brain off after history, and then I'm going to math. Now I've got to turn the brain on to math. Now I've got to turn off of math and go on to English. That's very difficult. So what can we do to give them the opportunity to really learn, set the stage for learning, academic learning, and give them the opportunity to get their brain ready for whatever content comes next. So that's really what Frame is all about, giving a really systematic, structured approach to the first 10 minutes of your class.
Wow, that is powerful. And I love what you were saying, because like a lot of times transitions are hard for kids, and for us as educators too sometimes. So I think that that's a great way to kind of like refocus everyone and get them ready to start the learning. So that is.
I agree. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So shifting gears a little bit. So we talked a little earlier about like blogging and your journey to connecting. So as you connected with other educators, what were some of your takeaways?
Well, I think, we have so many wonderful educators out there, as you know, and getting a chance to listen to what, again, people are writing about and people are saying, and then taking what they're talking about and how can I take that back to my teachers? And that's really what it's all about. You read some of the great writers on Edutopia, or again, Literacy Daily, or NCTE, or EduMatch, let's face it. You read some of that great stuff out there, and I often think, what can I do now to take this to the teachers I work with? Or how can I give them the idea that they can modify then and revise for their classroom? And that's what I think is key, and that's often what I tell people, is the fact that as an instructional coach, Sarah, I don't want to give you more work. I want to take the work off your plate to help you shine. And oftentimes, and I think you'll agree, just give me the idea and I can revise it, I can tweak it to make it work for my class. And that's what I think what my PLN has done for me, is giving me those ideas that I can take back to teachers and they can make it their own, whether it's a history class, an English class, social studies, it doesn't matter. And that's what I think is so key, to be part of that blogging world where we're all working together for one goal, and that's the sake of our kids. There really is no other agenda.
That's right. That's right. Definitely all working together, regardless of title, just like all just working to turn that wheel forward, that wheel of learning, that great wheel of learning. So awesome stuff. All right. So we talked a little bit about why the first 10 minutes of class are so important. And you spoke about the frame and you broke down the acronyms for us. So how might frame look in a classroom?
Well, what I'd like to see is, so as an example, we talk about focus. Think about having that learning intention success criteria in a standardized place every day. So make sure then kids know what to look for. So have that ready to go. So when even before that 10-minute start, that LI and SC are on the board, kids know where it is. Don't put it on a PowerPoint. We minimize PowerPoints. Have it someplace where they can see it. Then, as far as the reach, you need to have eye contact and say good morning to every student. Sarah, maybe you stand outside the door and you shake hands, you greet them. Even that little 10-second, 15-second of love can take a kid who's had a really rough morning and say, hey, take a look at, Mrs. Grafwallner. She said good morning to me. She said hello to me. Then when we get inside the classroom, we're now going to achieve. And this is where the teacher just don't read that LI and SC only, but actually break it down. Tell those students, explain what it is we are going to achieve. And here's what's key. We're going to achieve it together. Some of us may move a little quicker. That's okay. Some of us may need extra support, and that's okay. So make sure you really break down that learning intention and success criteria. Then after that, we go into modeling. And achieve and modeling, let's face it, it may blur a little bit, but maybe if, I'll give you an example. Maybe what I might do today is we might just write a topic sentence. That might be our goal. Well, maybe for modeling, I might have some student examples of topic sentences that I can show them, just so they understand, hey, I'll be able to do that by the end of the block or the period. I'll be able to achieve that as well. And then lastly, that encouragement. We can do this together. You're not going to be sitting there by yourself with your head down, waiting for me to come and poke you. That's not what this is. This is an opportunity for all of us to participate together to move forward. And I think if we do that systematically and let our kids know we are working together toward this one particular goal, and we break that learning intention success criteria down to what can be manageable, I think our students are going to be able to embrace that.
Love it. Love it. So that's simple, actionable, to the point. So,
Absolutely.
yep.
And I
Yep.
think too, much like a SMART goal, I think you'll be able to know whether or not you're successful. It's definitely measurable.
Yeah, totally. And I love the fact that you included an organizer in the chapter where, people can kind of like plan it out.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's wonderful. All right. So, question for you: like, what other kinds of, if you were to give a tip to other educators out there that might be watching, what would that one tip be?
I think the tip that I would give, without a doubt, because I do talk to a lot of young teachers, and by young I mean novice teachers just entering the profession, and I've mentored a great deal, and as a coach, and my number one response to everyone is always network. Get out there, and if you can, I know conferences can be pricey, but Sarah, there are some great ones out there that are very doable as far as price. Maybe you're able to join an organization that might be free, your neighborhood reading council. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And I have to tell you where that comes from. When we brought our daughter home from Bulgaria, I'll give you a real quick example. Annie was 6 years old and weighed 22 pounds. So that tells you a little bit about her life. She, for 6 years, had sat in a corner and rocked. She had no language. She she was a shell of a person. I don't know what else to say. And of course, initially, my husband and I, we were told she was fine, so we had no idea this was coming. So of course, we circled the wagons, right? And we can do this. We don't need help. And finally, one day, both of us cracked and realized we can't move on without help. And we started asking for help. And here's the beautiful thing: you ask for it, people help you. And that's often the story I tell, again, novice teachers. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It doesn't show you're weak. It doesn't show you're unaware. It shows you to be intentionally strong, that you realize maybe where you need to fill in some of those gaps, and people will come running to you. They will bend over backwards. They will trip over each other to help. But you have to just show us you need it, and then we'll do everything we can to move forward with you. That's always my tip. And I will have to tell you, I often use that personal story about my daughter, because I think it shows that even after 26 years in the field, I am more than willing to say to somebody, you know what, I don't know. Sarah, as you and I talked about, this is out of my comfort zone for me. This is brand new for me, but I'm doing it. And that's what I always say to teachers, just move beyond that comfort zone. People will catch you when you fall, and we'll be more than happy to prop you up again. So I think we're in a great profession. We're very lucky.
I agree with you 100%. That was powerful. That was very powerful. So the strength comes a lot of times in recognizing where you do need that help and asking for it. Yep, definitely. Well, definitely wanted to thank you for your time, Peg. It has been like this time has flown by, but for anyone who is looking to connect with you online, then if you could just please tell us where to find you online.
Yes. Well, first of all, my website is www.peggrafwallner.com. My email is peggrafwallner@gmail.com, and my Twitter is @peggrafwallner. So please feel free. I respond to everyone, and I want to help.
Well, that is awesome. So thank you so much for a great conversation. Thank you, and wanted to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you to Kathy and to Rochelle, who are interacting on the YouTube live page. It was great chatting with y'all as always. So just wanted to remind everyone that this Sunday we return to Tweet and Talks as usual, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, podcasts.edumatch.org/tweet talk. So we have Irene Amelia, who will be facilitating a discussion on Hour of Code. So there's still plenty of spots to sign up at podcasts.edumatch.org/sign up. So definitely check that out. So looking forward to chatting to everyone on Sunday evening. And yeah, so have a great one.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Yes, happy holidays. All right.